What's up, everyone? Welcome to another episode of That Hobby Show. With me tonight is Robert from Prestige Collectibles Japan. How's it going, Robert?
Good. How you doing?
I am doing very well, thank you. Thank you for joining me.
Oh,
I've wanted to have you on the show for a while now, so
thanks
I'm
for
glad.
having me. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm glad that our schedules were actually able to line up, so I could get you on. But I guess first question would be so you've been dealing with Japanese cards and collectibles and memorabilia for over 30 years. So how did you get started with that?
Well, I when I was in high school in 1985, we had a Japanese exchange student in our class, and in 1986, I went to Japan for the first time and visited him. He lived in Nagoya, and I didn't really find any baseball stuff. I wasn't really thinking about it. But when I went back in, I think it was in '88, end of '88, and then '89, I was looking around and I actually found some cards, older ones from the 50s and whatnot. I thought they were pretty cool because I was involved with American baseball cards, and I had sent them back to the States, and someone bought almost all of them and was advertising them in the Baseball Hobby News or one of those publications.
Hmm.
And from there, it was we were getting a lot of oddball stuff too,
Yeah.
stuff like now that I would never even want really, you know. But at the time, everything was exciting.
Yeah.
And
So
so,
what would you consider the oddball stuff from then?
uh, I mean, there were stickers and
Oh.
different newer type of cards. It was almost anything I could find. I thought it was great, and it was I think it was in '88. I had put a little thing in the Shukan Baseball, the weekly baseball magazine, looking for someone that was interested in Japan. It was in Japan. It was interested in American cards, maybe to exchange. So I was in contact with one guy, and then I ended up meeting him uh, in Kobe, and he brought me to Marty Keenert's restaurant, and I met Larry Furman there, who was involved with cards. And from there, Marty was the one that helped work with BBM to start the first modern cards in 1991. And at that time, I think most of the teams owned their own logos and whatnot, the mascots, so they couldn't sell them overseas. So I
Hmm.
was able to buy them through Marty, and we had like an exclusive where we got a lot of sets and boxes back in '91, and so it was just the beginning at that time for modern cards and also older cards and things like that.
Yeah, so it sounds like right away you got hooked up with like the main guy.
Yeah, just in a couple of years, and then in '91, I mean, I don't when Baseball Magazine had their um, like ceremony to introduce the cards.
Hmm.
I was there and I met the commissioner of baseball and the president of Baseball Magazine, and who were both later in the Hall of Fame. And I have a picture of them I took together, and I had them both sign it afterwards. And yeah, it just started taking off from there. And I was, you know, loved being in Japan, trying to find cards and learn as much as I can and meet people. So it was a great experience.
Yeah, I think I seen that photo too. It was I want to say you were in like a ballroom or something like that, and you were showing off some cards.
Yeah, I was. Yeah, it was like a ballroom. I was actually wearing a suit and tie, which
Yeah,
was the
yeah.
last time I wore one. And yeah, I have a picture of them together. And there was a few others. I was showing them the baseball I had,
Uh-huh.
and so that was in '91. And actually, in 1993, I was on a Japanese TV show. They came to my house in Florida. It was called
Really?
Not a Hold Is a World, and kind of like a quiz show. And the people on this panel had to guess what I collect. And also a friend of mine at the time, Dan Johnson, came from California, and he brought all his cards. So they showed my collection that was in my room, and they had a guess that I collected baseball cards. So I have that on YouTube also, that
Nice.
video from a long time ago.
That's awesome though. I mean, so yeah, it seems like you just really started at the top almost.
Well, it was such a small, I guess, community or group,
Uh-huh.
and you know, they were somewhat interested, at least at Baseball Magazine, what some of the, Americans were, their involvement with cards. So that was, let me see.
Yeah, that's one of the things I noticed when I was living in Korea and I was getting Korean baseball cards autographed. Like
Yeah,
people were how do I want to it was kind of like I was like a sideshow. Like people couldn't believe there's usually a lot of Americans, foreigners at the games, but to see me like collecting cards and trying to get autographs, they were amazed and I guess like appreciative too that
yeah,
I was taking an interest in their culture and their sport.
yeah, yeah. I got married in Korea in '99,
Oh,
and
really?
yeah, the day after the wedding, I was with Thomas, Thomas St. John,
Yeah.
and we went to some games in Seoul. So he got me on the field. I met some of the players and took pictures and whatnot. But yeah, I have a lot of autographs from back then of different players. It wasn't, I guess, that many cards.
Yeah. No,
In
not
Korea,
not.
yeah. So there's some I've seen some from, I guess, from the '80s, really crude looking ones, and then
Yeah.
there's a bunch from the '90s, that early '90s, mid '90s.
Yeah. The Telica that got a
Yeah,
little bit better.
yeah, those LG twin sets. I
Yeah.
think I
And then
have.
the phone cards.
Yeah, I got a lot of those.
Yeah. Yeah. And I've seen some of your stuff too. Like your KBO stuff that you have is pretty amazing.
Yeah,
But,
yeah, I have some of the I don't even remember, some of the telecas I have.
uh-huh.
I think there's one player of like 300 something of the same player
Oh,
from
really?
the '94 set or something like that.
Oh, wow. Yeah, like me and Dan, who's watching.
Yeah,
How's it going, by the way, Dan? He would take me to a card store in Korea, and there was a promo set that they had. They had like some international card show there, and it was like Lee Sung Ya, guys like that were in the set, and the dude just had stacks of them.
oh
We are
wow.
like, no wonder we've never seen these before because you have them all.
Uh,
You know?
yeah,
But
yeah.
yeah, it was pretty cool just seeing some of this stuff. So we were talking before the show started that you actually have an auction house, or would it be considered an auction house, or
Well, it's I mean, it's an online auction,
yeah.
and it just ended last Saturday, I think it was.
Uh-huh.
I can't even keep track of the time anymore. Maybe 2 Saturdays ago at this point. I think it was
Uh
the 7th. Was it? The 13th, last Saturday.
13th, yeah, 13th. There was some stuff that I was looking at, and then I've noticed, which is it good for you but bad for me. There's been a lot more people bidding on the items that I want.
Yeah, yeah, and there's a lot of newer people bidding, a lot more interest. Um, and it was weird because the day before the auction ended, I was a little nervous with some of the pricing.
Oh,
And
really?
yeah, and then the night of the auction, it was just exploding. I mean, it was actually the best auction I ever had. Um, I think the amount of lots sold, the total price, total in sales. I mean, it was like $42,000 total, which
Uh-huh.
you can look at a golden auction and find 100 lots more than that. But for
Yeah.
Japanese stuff, it was pretty good.
Yeah, but I mean, you're just what, maybe one or one person and maybe a few other people helping you.
Yeah, yeah, pretty much. Me and Gary Engel helps write a lot of the descriptions for me,
Yeah,
and
so for two people, that's pretty damn good
yeah,
compared to one of the huge auction houses.
yeah,
And a lot of them, they don't get the stuff that you can get. It
no,
blows my mind the stuff that you find.
yeah. I sometimes I'm shocked at things that I've never seen before. Even now after 30 some odd years, and and then I'll see the same things over and over again. But it's new to other people, so
Yeah,
So I might go, this is boring, but well, maybe a lot of people never saw it before, so it's it
Yeah.
was
So how
interesting. Yeah.
how do you go about picking what you're going to put up for auction?
Um, well, I try to put up somewhat of a variety of things.
Hmm.
Almost every auction will have cards, and then a few autographs, some tickets, some miscellaneous memorabilia. So I try to have a little variety of things, but
Yeah.
it's mostly, I don't know, what I think people would be interested in.
Yeah.
As far as and then some of the rarer things, like I had, which I still have it here. I put it on eBay. Was the Tokyo Dome game used base, from which I bought, not that long ago from Japan. I thought that would be pretty cool, but nobody bid on that item. But still think it's kind of neat.
Yeah.
So sometimes I'll go out and try to find things that um, that people never saw before. I thought would be interesting. But the problem is sometimes is I'll end up with a nice item and I'll have two or three of them, so I have to really spread it out because I can't always put it in the next auction or something.
Yeah. Yeah. So have you noticed well, I wouldn't say this year, maybe the past couple years that modern cards have been blowing up, but is that also the same with Japanese cards?
Yeah, yeah. You mean the Japanese vintage
Well,
or Japanese modern?
really any Japanese
Yeah,
cards.
I don't deal. I mean, I haven't really dealt with modern Japanese cards until I don't know, it was like early 2000s. There was
Mhm.
just so much stuff coming out, and it was so expensive, with the shipping and getting it here and sending it and selling it, and it was just overwhelming.
Mhm.
And I always preferred the older cards, even when I was dealing with American stuff. So, but yeah, but especially when now with the Otani, the 2013 product from Japan was just got crazy. And
Yeah.
now there's another player that they're supposed to be posting, I think tomorrow.
It was either today or tomorrow.
Yeah, Seiya
Seiya
Suzuki.
Suzuki. Yeah.
Yeah, and I've been trying to pick up some of his cards just in case. I don't. Before either something goes really crazy or what is. I think he's also from 2013, and he
Yeah,
was.
I have to go through my I have to go through my cards and see what I have of him because I'm hoping that he signs with a team that has spring training out here in Arizona because
Oh,
I like to collect autographs. So
yeah.
try and get him before his stuff goes through the roof. But usually when the guys come over here with all the hype, especially if it's only a handful of guys, their cards usually fetch a premium. So
Yeah. Also, they usually sign. It's a nicer signature when they first start.
yeah, definitely. Except for guys like Yoshi Satsugo,
Uh,
his I like his American autograph a lot better than his
um,
Japanese autograph. That's for sure.
yeah,
But yeah,
I remember I guess it was back in '93. I was in Japan, and Matsui was on the cover of a magazine, and I went to Yomiuri Land where they were having practice, and I saw him, and he didn't even see the magazine yet because it came out the same day. He put
no,
a beautiful signature on it. It was gorgeous. I ended up selling it, later, after that. But it was, I mean, his and Ichiro's signature and Nomo, all those guys had like art looking signatures. They were really beautiful
yeah,
until they come here and, Nomo was scribble and, I mean, Ichiro too is they kind of lost
yeah. And then
so much.
I
And
don't know
Otani.
if you've seen the latest Otani signing with Fanatics, but his I don't
Yeah,
know if he's trying a new English autograph or what, but it is absolutely horrible.
yeah. I had four Otani balls from Fanatics.
Yeah,
So I had
you had the All Star Game ones, right?
yeah, I had three All Star games, and I have one on eBay now. It's an All Star Home Run Derby Moneyball. It's kind
Hmm.
of I think it's pinkish reddish on half of it,
Yeah,
and yeah, so I have one of those on eBay. Yeah, because I mean they're charging $800, $799 for them. I got
yeah,
them wholesale from Fanatics, so I have a little room on them. but
Yeah.
still, they're not cheap. And
No.
I was told they're just going to go. They're probably going to get more expensive. So I don't. They just listed the MVP one, struck
Yeah.
the ball. I think that was $8.99 or something.
Yeah, I think when he first came here, his prices were crazy. Then he got hurt,
Yeah.
and then the prices dipped, and now people are actually like, "Oh, he's the real deal." So now, and then
Yeah.
he's starting to get more of that. What is it like that pop culture type figure where
Yeah.
even non-sports fans know who he is now, so that
Yeah.
helps drive the price up and everything.
Also, the Japanese market, they want stuff too. So, one of the baseballs I had on eBay was bought by someone in Japan.
No, really.
Yeah, because they'll mark them up much higher in Japan. So if they can buy them from the U.S., it saves them a bit too.
Yeah, they're like, hell, I got an $800 ball from Robert. That was a deal, so I'm going to
Yeah,
jack up the price and
yeah,
probably get more for it in Japan too.
yeah, yeah. It's
So, what cards do you actually keep in your collection?
um well, overall, I collect stuff from the Meiji and Taisho eras. So, well, basically before, like, I don't know, 1926, 25, in that era and before.
Uh huh.
So there's not a lot of cards. I have mostly postcards. I have
Okay.
a couple of thousand postcards with individual players, teams, tours, things like that that I have in boxes that I still have to sort and go through. Otherwise, there's some generic cards, bigger Menko. I have some I made a website called yakukai.com, and it just has a lot of my collection on there. There's cards and magazines and things like that. But yeah, it's really hard trying to be a dealer and a collector. I
Yeah.
want to keep everything, but I got to make money, so I draw the line. I mean, I have some, you know, a few, interesting cards from the 30s and before. That's what I like the most as far as cards go.
Yeah, that's one of the hardest things for me is I want to collect, but I also want to be able to sustain my collection by actually selling some of it. But a
Yeah,
lot of times, when I go to sell something, I end up getting extremely sentimental very fast, and it's
yeah,
hard
yeah,
because a lot of this stuff, I remember when I got it, and then
yeah.
the memories start flooding in, and
Oh yeah,
you
yeah.
know,
Yeah, I had. I don't even know what year it was. It was, I guess, early '90s. I heard there was a collection of autographed photos at a store in I forget where, some north of Tokyo or in Tokyo area. And I heard the guy didn't even want to sell it to a foreigner because he didn't want it really to leave the country.
mm,
But I had my friend end up getting it, and it was I don't know, like $4,000, a lot of stuff. And there was actually one card in there of Ogawa Shotaro, who's a Hall of Famer, and it's a real unique card. I never saw another one. So I remember getting it and everything. And I did sell it at one point, and then I got it back. So I was glad to, because there's a lot of things from Japan you never see again.
yeah.
And then there's certain cards that, like, I've never seen before, and then you'll see a couple of them on eBay, and then I'll find one, and then you never see them again. It's real interesting.
Did you so you mentioned earlier that people not wanting to sell to foreigners, did how often did you or do you still run into that issue?
Now that was pretty much a one-time thing. Now, yeah, I think it was an old guy, and he was just wanted to keep the collection, hopefully in Japan.
Yeah.
Not that it mattered, but no, I haven't really had any issues like that.
Okay. Gotcha. Uh shit.
Hmm.
There was I had it right here and I totally
So
lost it. But so Tops is I know you don't really deal in the modern
yeah,
stuff, but Tops is going to be making MPB cards.
yeah, I saw some. Someone had posted some what they're supposed to look like, and I think they're supposed to look like the regular Tops issue from the U.S.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Just worse in in my opinion. Uh
yeah.
but I actually have a friend that pre-ordered a box for me just because even though I think the designs are ugly, it's the first, the first Tops
Yeah,
MPB card, so I kind of had to do that.
yeah. I asked my friend in Japan. He has a card store,
Hmm.
and I forgot what he said about him. I think there were. I don't know, I can't find what he wrote, but yeah, I don't know if he was getting some or
Hmm.
I don't know if there be what kind of interest there is because a lot of the stuff in Japan is not cheap,
No,
and so I can't find it right now. But
yeah.
yeah, but yeah, if I
Yeah,
can,
the white spot, they have a huge white spot up in the upper left hand or right hand corner, and then that's where they put the team logo,
uh,
and it is I think they found the smallest font that they could get, and it just looks so weird.
yeah,
But
yeah, yeah. My friend has a card store in Osaka. It's a Card Dynasty. His,
okay,
his name is Yoshi Aoki.
nice. So how often do you go back to Japan? And when you go, is it like a strictly kind of like an American Pickers type episode where you're going and hunting for this stuff, or
Yeah, I mean, I lived in Japan for 6 years, from '96 to 2002.
Mhm.
And every year after that, actually since I think 1988, I was in Japan every single year, either living there or visiting, except for last year and this year,
Mhm.
because right now they're not even allowing tourists to visit. So I can't even go if I wanted to. But yeah, I was going every year, either around Golden Week, early May, or in the winter. And yeah, I would go there. And there's a few people, a couple of people that I knew that had stuff, like they collect it throughout the year. So I'd visit them and see what they had that I can buy from. Everything else was just luck,
Yeah.
going to antique shows or, uh, I try to set up around an antique show or some other stores in certain areas, but a lot of it was just, pure luck finding things.
Yeah,
That,
'cause I was gonna say, the only stores that I know about in Japan are Mint,
yeah,
uh, the chain store. But I've never left the airport in
oh,
Tokyo, so I haven't gotten to explore. But I can only imagine from the pictures that I've seen from Dave that there's really not a lot of old stuff there, is there?
no, no, not in the card stores. Are mostly, well, I guess, they had a lot of American stuff. They had a lot of Japanese, modern things, and then they get other sports. Soccer was popular. I don't know how it is now. And then a
Yeah,
lot of the different girls' cards.
yeah.
But yeah, Mint has a big chain all over the country. And then there were smaller stores. I was working when I was there at a store, for 6 years. That was, I don't know how long that was totally open, maybe 10, 12 years. But he closed down. And there's a few others scattered about. But yeah, years ago there was a lot more smaller stores, individual
Oh,
people that had stores. Joe's Sports. I don't know. Yeah, actually, some of the I have the. This is the first issue of Sports Card Magazine from '96.
oh, really?
Yeah, and so they had all the different stores would advertise, and yeah, this is one of my friends actually. I bought a lot of stuff from him over the years.
Oh, really?
Yeah, Koichi no Naka. Actually, this Nagashima ball I have it
Wow.
on my shelf over there. And yeah, but back then, there was a lot more stores, and yeah, it was very different. Yeah, this is one of the sports card shows. How does this work? That's me right there.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, yeah, I can't believe it's been 25 years ago is when I moved to Japan.
Man, that is awesome. I'm jealous. You should probably write a book. I mean, that would
Yeah. I'm
unless
not a good writer. That's why I have Gary write my descriptions, and
yeah.
I can talk and tell stories, I guess. But yeah, it's weird. Like Dan was saying, I don't really even see Menko cards at a lot of the card shops. Most of those are, old bookstores, junk stores, kind of antique places and things like that. You might get lucky.
So, do Japanese collectors, do they even really collect Japanese vintage at
Yeah,
all, or
there
it?
are, you know, I don't know if it's the Japanese mindset or whatever's different than us, because Americans, we like to promote and show everything that we got, and and show it off. And a
They
lot of Japanese, you don't even know they have collections. I know I have a customer. I don't know how much I can say, but back in 2007, I won a T206 Honus Wagner for him, and it was in the Mastro auction at the National. It was $192,000, and he paid me, and I took the card and I flew to Japan with it. It was a great experience. And now the card's probably a couple of million at this point. It was the SGC 10, which is like a one,
yeah.
but still, it was a nice card. And he was collecting a lot of Nagashima stuff, O stuff, a lot of rare things. But they don't publicize these things,
Hmm.
so it's hard to know what exactly people collect. Um, so yeah, that's one of the things. But when I see some of the prices online that things sell for, and I'm getting outbid all the time, and I don't know if it's just other people trying to get them to resell or they're actually collecting them. But
Mm,
it's I think it's still a pretty big market there.
yeah. So I've noticed on the descriptions on some of your auctions where it'll say that it's an uncatalogued card.
Yeah.
So does that mean that it's something that's just been recently discovered and it hasn't had time to get updated, or what exactly does that mean?
Well, it depends, 'cause, that's Gary's guide. He's the one that does it all. But
Hmm.
yeah, something uncatalogued, it's either because it was recently discovered, or it might have been known for quite a while, but there's not enough cards from the set to determine what year it is, who made it, or anything about it. So he could have, because he told me he's got hundreds, I don't know how many hundreds of Menko and bromides, that you might have three of them and you don't know what they're from. So there's no way to explain it or talk about it. So a lot of them are uncatalogued. But if
Gotcha.
if he has a set that's in the guide and then you happen to find a card from that set and he goes, "Oh, that's uncatalogued. We didn't know about that card, or there was some variation or something," then he can add that to the guide.
I
But
mean, you guys are actually still finding stuff, right?
oh yeah, I mean, some of it's generic things, some of it's actual players,
Yeah.
and I mean, there's a card on. I was just gonna list this one. I think there was a couple of these that were on eBay, but like something like this, I never saw this one before,
Hmm.
and it's I think there was a couple of them that somebody else had.
Yeah.
So yeah, always finding new things, new sets. That's what's interesting. American stuff. There's not much to find anymore.
No,
Either
not really.
vintage or once in a
I
while
mean,
there's some obscure T card maybe or something. But
yeah, most of the stuff that's found is you know, old stuff in like attics,
yeah,
but it's stuff that's already been found, but usually it's in better condition type thing.
yeah, stuff
You know?
that's known. Yeah, there's a
Yeah.
lot of finds and people finding boxes and stuff showing up at auction houses with Gaudis and old
Yeah.
Top Colemans on it.
Unfortunately, I haven't done any of that.
No,
I haven't been able to find anything like that. So
no,
yeah,
yeah, it'd be nice.
yeah, right. Are you? Does it surprise you at all that this stuff is still being found, or?
Uh, I mean, I don't know. In a way, yeah, it's all. I mean, it's fun that it's found, and a lot of it is surprising because you figured by now we've pretty much find most things,
Hmm.
and most things would be cataloged but I mean, most of the stuff that we do see, we've seen before.
Yeah.
Once in a while, there's something that's, even the stuff that I have, I list stuff, and Gary goes, "Oh, I don't, he doesn't even have it." So,
Yeah.
but yeah, generally, I've seen a lot of stuff, and some of it I've seen, you know, too often. I know people get excited and they're working on sets, and it's great,
Mhm,
but it's if you're looking for a specific card, it's not that easy, I think.
mhm.
You know, you
It
got to
it
hope you
has that
find
happen by accident.
yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
and also the other thing is trying to organize the stuff because none of the cards they're not in number order, and and I have so many, Manko and Bromide, some separated by Hall of Famers, together. Others
Mhm,
are just, a complete mess. I got boxes and boxes full, so I'm just trying to pull stuff out, get it on eBay because I haven't really been listing a lot of stuff.
uh-huh.
So I'm trying to get more things out, trying to do auctions, maybe almost every day, just to see what kind of interest there is. I know there's a couple of guys in Japan that list stuff all the time, and they have a big following, for mostly lower end type of Manko bromide game cards and things like that.
Yeah, and they listed on eBay or
Yeah, yeah. There's a couple of guys. You know, I don't know if they work together or not. There's one like TTY 83 TT, something like that. He's got like 14,000 feedback. He sells stamps too, but he has a big following because almost everybody I know that buys Japanese cards buys from him also. So he
did
seems
you,
yeah.
did you ever have to kinda, I guess, rein yourself in and focus your collection
Oh boy.
more?
Yeah, like for example, I was collect Yaku Kai magazine, which started in 1911 and finished in 1959, and I was going to try to get mostly the pre-war ones, the older ones, and I have I don't have them all, but I have up through 19 the whole run. I have like 500 or so issues, and it's harder finding the old ones, but since the not newer ones, they're already 70 years old basically, almost, you know. So I started going after, just trying to fill in all the gaps that I needed.
Yeah,
And so between that, I have, like I said, if you go to the yakukai.com, the website, you can see the stuff I have, these ceramic figures. I go, these are cool. And they're not that expensive, 30, 40, $50, some of them.
yeah,
So I was just buying whatever I find and, and the postcards and other things. I got a lot of books and some of them just duplicates and things like that maybe I can use for trade someday or something. But
yeah,
yeah, a lot of it's gotten out of hand as far as what I end up keeping, and there's a lot of books that I'll find that I just like. There's a set from 1931, and it's really in depth of college baseball. It was a 3-volume set, and I think I probably have like 5 of each of them. If the price is good enough, I end up just picking them up. I don't know.
yeah.
They,
You
they
you
need a good
sound a lot
home.
like me.
Yeah.
I pick up all this stuff for trades, and then I quickly realized that there's like maybe 3 people that would be interested in it. So,
Yeah, yeah, that's true.
uh,
Also, Dan was commenting about the higher prices on eBay. And I
mhm,
know some Japanese people, depending on what they're selling, they, and I don't know why some of them are kind of sneaky, where especially with some of the higher price Otani cards, where they would list them on eBay and they wouldn't have them. And then if they sold it, they would buy it from somebody that had it in Japan online or something. And there's a lot of that going on because if you look at some of the people's feedback, they go, "Oh, my transaction was canceled," or something. Because I think they're trying to sell stuff that they don't actually own in some cases. And I've seen the same cards in different in different websites. I go and with different sellers, so I don't know who even owns what.
yeah.
I've seen that too.
Yeah, I haven't, fortunately, I haven't, run into that issue,
Yeah,
yet, and hopefully don't. And now that,
yeah,
I I get my, Japanese singles from you now because
okay,
I don't really buy, the current stuff, for me,
yeah,
like Mike, he buys singles, but usually it's cheaper for me just to buy the box, and
yeah,
then, whatever I get because a lot of the stuff I try to get signed, but
yeah.
sadly, I don't see any more Japanese teams coming to the states for spring training anymore, and or in the near future at all.
Yeah, yeah. They used to. I remember when Nomo came here. It was in '95, I guess, in Vero Beach for the
Mhm.
Dodgers. And I brought a bunch of Japanese cards up that I had of him, 91s and whatnot, and a few things that he signed for me at the time. But everybody wanted his cards, and they asked, "Oh, would you sell them?" I go, "I wasn't planning on it, but if you want, I sold them for a few bucks to whoever wanted a card." Nomo got kind of pissed because all of a sudden he saw everybody had his Japanese cards. It was like, "Where'd these come from?" I
Yeah.
go, "I could sell them. They're my cards. I don't. If you don't want to sign
Right.
them, it's your business." But yeah, it was.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
the stuff that you put up in your auctions, is a lot of it from your own personal collection, or?
Uh, I use it mostly stuff that I buy and buy for the auction.
Oh, okay.
And or yeah, some of it's consignments, but a lot of it is just stuff that I would find. Oh, this would be a great auction item, and I put it in. I have I have a little over 300 cards at PSA right now that have been there since February and March, and I
Of
sent
what
them.
year?
Uh, was that?
What, February and March of what year?
Oh, it was this year.
Oh,
So
okay.
yeah, so um, hoping if I can get those back by early next year, maybe I'll do some PSA card auctions. I sent them. It was mostly older stuff, Menko, Karuta, different things that I thought would grade well or look good, or
And
even yeah, yeah.
I think I remember you saying when you were on with Dan, you actually help PSA with figuring out what the cards are.
Oh, actually, Gary does. He's a
Oh, okay.
consultant for PSA.
Oh, okay.
I've helped in the past SGC because
Oh,
they're only 30 minutes from me. So before the whole
oh,
pandemic and everything else, I sometimes I would go there or they would ask me to help them with stuff and they give me free grading or discounts, and then I don't know, something changed. So
uh,
it's not that good anymore. You can't even visit them even to drop stuff off or pick it up. So
no, really.
yeah, I know. So I mean, I don't send them that much anyway. The prices are so high for grading now
Yeah,
compared
yeah.
to what they were.
So when you say you're going to do you do any shows besides the national?
Um, in the U.S., no. Actually, I did a show in Japan, December 2019.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I was going there. I was visiting anyway, and there was a show, so I brought a bunch of stuff with me, to see what I can sell and whatnot. And it was, I sold a few $1,000s worth of stuff, so it was fun. It was nice. But in the U.S., I've only usually only do the national. Years ago, when we had a store, like from I was involved with that from like '89 to '96 before I went to Japan. We
Mhm.
used to do the national, the East Coast National, San Francisco. It was like the trifecta of shows, during that time. And once in a while, another show here or there, or some local ones. But I haven't really done anything else.
So how much stuff do you actually take to the national? Because I haven't been there.
Yeah,
I've never been to any national. I'm hoping this year, since it's in Atlantic City, it's close to home, that
yeah.
I'll be able to make it this year.
Oh,
So do you like uh, just load up suitcases? Do you get a U-Haul, a minivan?
yeah.
What do you?
I drive my Toyota Camry,
Yeah.
and I drive from Florida to wherever the show is. So thankfully, it's not too far west. So Chicago's 20 hours driving. So I drive about 10 hours a day and then stop usually in Georgia. That would be the
Mhm.
point where I had enough, and then spend one night. And I have like right now 7 showcases. So I put them on the back seat and I load them up with stuff, and then I put stuff in the trunk and a few boxes that fit in the rest of it, and then a bag of my clothes, and that's all I can take. It's usually more than enough stuff for the show anyway. And
Yeah.
so, I'll have, bring magazines, and funny, every year I go to Home Depot and I buy these two large plastic shelving units, like $100 for the two of them, and I put my banner on the poles. They fit right into the slots, so it's a nice display. But when I leave, I just leave the shelves there because I can't take them with me.
Oh, really?
Even when I buy them and I stuff them in the car and I'm driving back from Home Depot, I can't even really see out of any of the windows because it's just so crowded, so full.
Mm. Yeah, Dan mentioned my it was my first ever purchase from you.
Yeah.
That one.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, that was me.
Oh, wow, great.
I've I've Dick Estelle is still last time I checked he was still alive.
Oh,
Uh,
wow.
I've contemplated sending it to him
Oh,
to get it signed, but I don't know if I can do it.
yeah. I don't know if you want to risk it. Yeah.
Yeah, no, and plus, I mean, the condition of the card. I mean,
Yeah.
the edges look nice, and
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, I did that signing with Masanori it was December 2015, and I had my hotel room. It's a tiny little room, and he showed up there, and he was wearing a mask before it was in fashion. No,
yeah, right.
he said he had a little cold, and yeah, he signed. He was there for, I don't know, an hour and a half or 2 hours, and he's signed all the cards I had, and I brought photos. I had some baseballs too, and I was trying to do a couple like stat balls to make them cool. But the time it took him to write one stat ball, he could have done like 20 photos. So I
Oh,
kind
really?
of pulled that. But he brought some of his collection with him. He had autographs from when he played in the States and showing me Clemente and all different players. It was really nice. And I think he brought his uniform or jacket or something from the San Francisco Giants. And yeah, it was a great time. It was
Really?
really fun.
So, could you tell me more about it? Like, how did that come about?
Well, I think I contacted Rob Fitz because he was doing um, he wrote the book for Murakami, and then he was going on tour and doing signings with him and whatnot.
Yeah, and
And,
he actually, I was stationed in California at the time, and I want to say he came to San Francisco, and I'm still kicking myself for not
uh,
going to the book signing that they
uh,
were doing.
it's funny, back in '89 and '91, I made these little guides about Japanese baseball and cards, and I put up one page of Murakami's information, and I think I had one of the stats wrong because I remember at Tokyo Dome I showed it to him, and he said I had something wrong on there. Maybe wins or losses or something. But yeah, it was yeah, the experiences in Japan are nothing like I ever had here.
Oh yeah,
I
yeah.
mean, I had
I mean,
so many stories, and
yeah, it's the same for me when I was living in South Korea. I mean, it was it definitely
yeah,
it made me love and appreciate baseball a lot more with
yeah,
how a accessible the players were,
yeah.
and b just how friendly they were. Like I don't. There's maybe only one or two or not Japanese, but Korean players that I can think of off the top of my head that actually seemed annoyed to
Oh,
sign an autograph, but everybody else was absolutely awesome and
yeah,
more forthcoming with their time.
yeah. I remember, he signed up. He would go into Arizona, and I saw him there once. I have a picture somewhere we took together, and yeah, there was one guy I knew that worked for one of the teams, the U.S. teams, and he always got a lot of equipment and signed stuff, and I used to buy a lot from him.
Hmm.
Some of the Japanese players and some of the Korean stuff. And at one point, when I was actually, I think I was living in Japan at the time, I had at least signed up everything. I had helmets, jerseys, pants, socks, cleats, glove. It was like I actually bought it like a mannequin, and I had the whole
Yeah.
thing set up. I had everything on there, and I even yeah, it was really incredible all the stuff that you can get, and but
Yeah, I
yeah,
think the last thing that I seen that you had of his was the batting gloves.
yeah, yeah. I have a Samsung Lions jacket that kind of a big. I don't know. what kind of jacket, like a windbreaker thing.
Mhm.
He signed it in black. It's hard to see the signature,
Yeah.
but yeah, I have a few things of his, and some of the other, from the late '90s, like was it Park Chung Tae and Ma Hae Young, and some of the other players. I have Iman Soo, a couple of old signatures and things like that.
Yeah, I'm hoping that some of the KBO teams come back to Arizona this year because before the pandemic, Isung Yap was out here up in Phoenix. Well, not Phoenix, Peoria.
Yeah.
He's like a broadcaster now. Dan can probably let
Yeah.
me know if I'm right or wrong, but at the time he was.
Hmm.
And you're making Dan drool.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, I have so much stuff with the Lion King cards that I need to get signed because even in Korea, he's a tough autograph to get. I
Yeah.
have a few, but yeah, he's definitely a tough one.
Yeah, I met him in Japan a few times, and when they were, was it 2000 or something? I think the Korean team went over. I don't know. They went there quite a bit, I guess, for different events and
Mhm.
tournaments and tours. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Well, hopefully they
I
can
thought Korea was open, except you had the
do the 2 week
quarantine.
quarantine. I could have
Yeah.
swore, but yeah, I'm out of the loop.
And my wife's Korean, and she went to Korea in September, and she didn't have to quarantine. She got a exemption from the government. She had to
Oh,
fill out this paperwork, and so she was vaccinated and everything, and she was staying with her family.
hmm.
So yeah, she didn't have to quarantine.
Yeah.
But
So she kind of had like the Korean equivalent to the TSA
yeah,
fast pass or pre-check. So,
yeah. We have She has that card when she's coming back here too. But Japan is closed, and I don't. They have like, what do they have now? Tokyo like 13 cases they reported.
yeah.
And still they're not letting people in. Everyone's still wearing masks. So I wanted to get back this year, but I don't know exactly when.
Yeah, I've because of all the quarantines and everything, I've stopped with the TTMs for now because I'm not sure, how they would handle that or if they just get tossed. So
Yeah.
sticking to the Americans that played in Japan for now.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but anyway, I wanted to thank you for coming on.
Oh, my pleasure. And if you
Yeah,
have anything else or any other questions or any.
I don't have any more off the top of my head. I don't want to keep you too late because I know it's almost 9 o'clock there.
Oh, that's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you
Yeah.
want, you can always contact me on Twitter, and I know everybody else on here anyway.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I'll definitely be hitting you up because I have some questions about Sadahara O. So
Okay.
I need to add one of his autographs to my collection. So
Yeah, yeah.
I'm-
There's quite a few of them, available. It just depends on what format, baseball or shikishi board or.
I like the boards. I
Yeah.
just don't know how prevalent forgeries are. You know,
Uh,
that's
Well,
what I'm worried about.
I mean, I often do the Japanese signatures for JSA,
Hmm.
for James Spence, and they email me quite a bit, and always usually you can look at it and I can tell right away it's either, if it's a really bad, but some of them are like, I'm not sure, and I'll ask my friend in Japan, and there was a time where some of the baseballs were actually signed by people that work for the Giants, and they were selling them at the stadium, and yeah, I didn't know about that.
Yeah.
So,
So
yeah,
I
but
don't.
I've been pretty careful with all the autographs that I get. And if I'm not sure, I'll double check with him and see what he thinks, and just to be safe. But I've seen some really horrible ones on eBay and on auctions in Japan and websites in Japan that just, you can tell they're not even close to anything good. I
Yeah,
mean,
'cause I've seen some, and then you start to think like, how the hell did this dude in Wisconsin or Iowa get
yeah,
get the autograph, So I always try to look at the location of where the seller is, in the
Yeah,
back.
because there were some people in Taiwan, because they could write Chinese, and if you're good at the signature, they were able to copy. But sometimes you can tell something looks a little too pointy at the top, or it's not smooth and it's a little shaky. Because O had a real good signature. And I mean, now he's 81, and I don't know how much he's signing now.
Yeah, yeah, and that's part of the reason not to be like too morbid about it, but he's getting up there in age.
Yeah, him and Nagashima too. Nagashima's older, and he had a stroke years ago, so his signature before and after the stroke was quite different.
Yeah,
But,
yeah. So I and in a lot of those signatures, people have them say they're from the 60s and 70s and stuff, and so I'm just really leery about how
yeah,
much of his unauthenticated stuff is in the States.
all right. Well, if you ever find anything that you're interested in, you want me to look at it, I'll
Oh,
take
I
a
got a few.
Okay. Yeah, 'cause sometimes I look on eBay and I go, or even in Japan, I go, oh, these are just so bad.
Yeah.
And then other ones just look good, especially if he writes Kyojingun like giants, or if he has something else with it.
Uh-huh.
Sometimes he'll write an expression like effort or other things like that. But
In Baltimore.
oh yeah,
Charm City.
oh wow, yeah, I know he did something in Anaheim a long time ago too.
Yeah.
There was a signing, but see, he doesn't like doing it for money. It was always for charity, or you know, or you could buy some of the the Jap. I assume that they're good too. Ones from BBM or Epoch that have his autograph, but they're a
I
lot of
can
money.
afford
They're
those.
cheap.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
can. And then usually those that he has through Epic and BBM, they're numbered to like one of or out of three or out of
yeah,
five.
they're a lot of money. Yeah,
Yeah, they're like case hits, and that's not something that I can afford. So, and
yeah,
plus, I like the boards too. I think that they would look awesome framed, because
yeah.
they have.
Sometimes people will add a picture on the board or a card or some modern card, or and then frame it up like that.
Yeah, definitely one of those, and then like I said, with your auctions are getting extremely popular, and his rookie cards seem like they're
Oh, they're crazy. I mean,
yeah,
even I don't even know if it's worth it grading them or not grading them, because either way, they were just. I mean, some of the prices are, just incredible, and it's a shame because I have like I don't know, 100 or so. I have a lot of Nagashima cards, but not O cards.
yeah.
Nagashima, they made a lot more.
Was there a reason for that? Do you think, or do
Uh,
you?
I don't know. I mean, Nagashima, he was the golden boy, and it was back in '58, so they were both young too.
Yeah,
So, but yeah, he was Japan's Mr. Giants.
yeah. Awesome. Well, again, thank you very
Oh,
much
no
for coming.
problem. Thanks
Yeah,
for having me on. And
yeah. No,
yeah,
thank you.
you want George's signature?
Yeah, yeah, George. And then George has the stamp too. I want to say.
Oh,
Yeah, I think he got that like a year ago. But yeah, hopefully I get to meet you in person at the national.
yeah,
Uh,
I'll be there.
yeah, that is the plan.
Yeah,
As long as uh,
it's okay.
yeah, COVID doesn't come back or whatever. So
Yeah, 'cause it's not the greatest location to get to for a lot of people, so it's yeah,
yeah, I don't know. I don't mind Atlantic City. I used to go there a lot, not to gamble, but
yeah.
yeah. And plus, I'm just excited to go back home. I haven't been home in to Maryland for
Oh,
6 years.
oh, I got to drive through Maryland when I go.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So
It was nice. The show in Baltimore was nice when they had that one. I
yeah,
think two times.
man, that would be my dream if it was actually in Baltimore. Because then that is home for me.
Oh, okay, good. Yeah,
Yeah,
that was a good show.
yeah. But anyway,
All right.
thank you everyone in the chat. This has been like you brought out a lot of people, so thank you, Robert. Usually the chat isn't this active, so
yeah, most of them from Korea.
yeah,
Another
I know, right? Korea and
Maryland.
Maryland and Pennsylvania checking
Yeah,
on the
good to see
chat.
everyone. Okay, well, I appreciate it. Thanks for having me on, and
Thank you.
look forward to talking to you again.
Yeah.